Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of I Made a Podcast. I'm hoping that you're having a great day. I'm here again for another interview, and I have two podcasters who are here and they are ganging up on me. they're going to talk to us about their podcast, and I would like to welcome Julie and Sarah to the podcast. And their podcast is called Suspenders Unbuttoned. Guys, How are you today?
Fantastic. Thank you for having us, Chris. It's really fun to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Julie, how are you doing?
We're doing great and excited to talk about podcasting with another podcaster.
Yeah, I know. And I love it so much. You guys ever, I don't know if you guys like to go on roller coasters or not, but I live close to an amusement park here. And there's all of this anticipation when you go up that hill. And then when you go down that first drop, you feel all of the adrenaline and all of that rush. That's how I feel right now that I hit the record button. I love this
roller coaster ride. Let's go.
Oh, I love this so much. This is going to be a great ride. I feel it right now. Okay, so for the people who don't know about you, who don't know about your podcast, can you maybe let us know a little bit about you guys?
Julie, you want to lead off?
Yeah. So we are a podcast that lives in the entertainment world. We have our biggest section is in the Hallmark world, and we interview not just actors, but also behind the lens people, producers, directors, writers, costumers, director of photography, anything really that you can think of, set deck. We've talked to them, but we also talk with authors and other people in the entertainment industry as they reach out to us.
Awesome. I'm kind of curious, the name Suspenders Unbuttoned, where did that name come from? Is there a story behind it that you guys want to share?
Well, there's a really big story, actually. We didn't originally start in with our show, with podcasting. We started in a fan group, and it stemmed out of this Hallmark Channel world, and we named our Instagram account Suspenders Unbuttoned after a character on the show, One Calls the Heart. And soon we ended up having people start reaching out to us and saying, like, would you go live with us to talk about our movie coming up or whatever it might be? And we started doing all these lives, and we really quickly realized we needed to have two separate things, but our name kind of became, I don't want to say iconic, but like it stood out in the world of anybody else doing anything similar. So we kind of branched out. We have Suspenders Unbuttoned Media now, and so, but it still is connected to our fan account, which is Suspenders Unbuttoned.
Excellent. Yeah.
And the name really gave us in the beginning, we kind of took a different choice, a different path than most of the podcasters in that area. They were doing recaps of movies and series, and we did one recap episode and realized, nope, that's us, not us. We had been doing lives on Instagram, and we're interacting with people live, and we were having talent was starting to join us too, and so we liked that live interaction, and it allowed us to be a little unbuttoned. And so our name has always allowed us to be a little unbuttoned and to take on things maybe that weren't what you would typically expect. And one of the first things we did very early on is we got involved with a fan convention, and we hosted one of the events there, and then we were on one of the panels at Rama Drama, and that was pretty quick into our podcasting journey. And we were talking about it, I'm like, we're unbuttoned. Like, let's not pigeonhole ourselves. And it's really given us a great reason to try something new.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So did the fan page and the live streams come first and then the podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, but why a podcast? Why start a podcast?
Well, we realized, I think once, first of all, a lot of people were messaging us saying, like, you should start a podcast. You should do this. And we were like, well, we don't know if that's our thing. And like Julie, mentioned earlier, we did decide, we had a few other girls, and we were like, let's do it. And we'll try talking about this new movie that's coming out. And we did that one, and we just kind of were left with this is not the right fit for us. Like, we don't want to just review. So kind of taking all these lives, we were going live on Instagram and having tons of people join us, and we really, really liked the connection. So by doing these reviews, we were missing connecting with other people. So changing our format, I mean, after the first episode, I think we changed really quickly, and we just started having guest after guest, and we've never slowed down. We've just been very busy for the past 5 years.
Wow, that's
Well,
It's
awesome.
coming up on 5 anyway, if it's not 5 yet
Awesome,
it'll be
awesome.
5 this fall.
this fall.
That's amazing. Okay, so now so it started with you guys giving a review, the first one, and then it moved into guest interviews where you've interviewed not just actors, but people in media in general, right? So
Mhm,
people
Absolutely.
behind the
Yeah.
scenes, on the
mhm,
screens, support
mhm.
roles, basically everyone, everybody who was involved in any. Now, there's a particular type of movies or category that you guys deal with, or is it just broad?
We're pretty broad.
Yeah, certainly our foundation is in that movie of the week, Hallmark, Lifetime, Great American Family, certainly sit there. But we're very broad. We are very open, and we have a pretty fun podcast coming up soon that is definitely not in that world that we're super excited about. A lot more mainstream, and we do live in the entertainment area is really where we sit, and so as more people are reaching out to us, so we're broadening what we're covering.
So let me ask this question now. So, out of all of the people that you have interviewed, well, actually, I have two-part question. The first question is, how do you was it hard finding people to interview on your podcast?
No, we've never really had trouble. Um, Sarah, like, sends things out, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna shout out Sarah here. I work super weird hours, and Sarah is kind of the power connector, and she just reaches out to everybody, and we had one of the, Hallmark's top actors, couple of them quite quickly. We had Paul Green and then Andrew
Our, third interview was
Andrew
somebody.
Walker.
Excellent. So, who was the most popular person that you guys have ever had on your podcast so far?
Uh,
That was the
this
next
is
question. I had to ask. Sorry.
remember we came out of a fan,
Right.
page?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're gonna say it, Sarah?
Sure, sure. If you wanna say who is our most popular in overall out of everybody, it's not going to be this answer, but the answer we're going to give you is going to be, the one that's been watched the most. It's always rewatched. People are always bugging us for another one. We've had him on maybe 6 times now, and it's Kevin McGarry,
Okay.
who is on When Calls the Heart, and he's done other shows like Heartland, and, he's
Open
guest
heart.
Open Heart. Yeah, lots of other movies and things, but he is we call his first interview with us, another actor nicknamed it like our Super Bowl because we had just started out, and to kind of land him when we were also his fan page was a big deal at the time.
Mhm.
Now we are very friendly, and we have built a trust and relationship between the three of us. But yes, that would be the one that gets the most excited uh, the most reactions from followers. Yeah.
Excellent. That's great. Now, I don't know if you guys have checked your listen score. Do you know what listen notes is?
I only just learned of it by
Okay, so
listening to one of your other podcasts.
okay, great. Thank you, thank
Yep,
you. Hey, good. You got brownie points just now.
yep,
So listen notes, it's a ranking system for
right,
podcasts, and it shows that your podcast has a listen score of 29, and it's a top 10% global ranked listen to podcast. So kudos to both of you for what you're doing, because a lot of people who have podcasts don't make it to this level. And actually, you know what? Most people don't even make it past like 10 episodes. So if you guys are like 5 years in almost or 5 years this fall, like
yeah.
kudos to you. What would you say is one of the big things that you guys have found to be helpful to help you to get the success that you've had with your podcast so far?
I think it's that our conversation style. We are, naturally chatty, that is a big thing, but we over-prepare.
Mm,
So we are over prepared and it allows us to follow our guest on whatever tangent they might want to go. So we don't have to have such a structured podcast. We are over prepared for the guests we're going to have on. And if they want to go down a tangent or go into something new, we can follow them right there. And
mm.
I think the combination of being chatty and being able to follow our guest is a little bit of our superpower.
Superpower, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Sarah?
and I think a feedback that we hear from our guests too is just how easy we make the conversation and we've also interviewed we've our spectrum is really big. We've had people that have never really interviewed before and people that are interviewing all the time. And we hear it from everybody that they love they feel like they're sitting down and talking with friends and it just I think like Julie said our conversational style makes them feel very comfortable and they're able to talk about whatever they want to talk about and we can follow along. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, I agree, Julie. That's our superpower.
That's wonderful. Now you did mention something that you are, Julie, you said that you guys are over-prepared.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for an interview with maybe like if someone who's on screen, maybe an actor or whatever, or versus someone who maybe is behind the screens in one of the
Mm.
support roles? How do you prepare for those interviews in both scenarios?
Sarah, why don't you go on screen and I'll go behind the scenes?
Okay, do you want all right, so on screen, we obviously will be familiar with their work, or books if they've written something or whatever it is that they're selling or promoting. We wanna be prepared. Sometimes we've seen it or read it ahead of time, sometimes we haven't yet, but it doesn't really change the way that we prepare. I think we just try to ask thoughtful questions, and we also try to ask questions that we know as fans ourselves that fans would like to know. And I think another thing that we like to do and prepare are questions that we know our guests might want us to ask them too, because we're really there for them as much as we're there for the followers and the listeners. We want it to kind of be equal. So there's a lot of research. You scroll through social media, maybe you listen to other interviews they've done, maybe you certainly check out IMDb, whatever information you can gather. We often have notes along with our questions that we share with each other, just to kind of like they did this and that and this and that was really cool or whatever. Just so we really try to get a nice broad picture of everybody that we're talking to.
Excellent. So what about behind the scenes now, Julie?
Yeah. So, it's, depends a little bit more with those, like this. We also share links with each other. We'll share websites with each other so we both can come in very prepared. But behind the scenes, it's like if they're coming in, seeing like what did they write if they are the writer, which episodes specifically were theirs, if they were the director, which ones did they direct, and then we'll adjust our questions for directing and what is a director's eye and what types of things a director is doing in that episode versus the actor in that episode or the writer in that episode. So like why they pick shots or very specific things like that. And then if you have, like a director of photography, then you're looking at like what did you use in the scene? How did you make sure you got the ambience you wanted there? How do you make sure you get the emotions across when you're shooting. So we'll come with that. And then, prepared with the technical stuff that maybe we don't know very well. So we'll both read and send links. Like, here's some good background information about this. We've done a lot of learning on the path, and maybe that's part of this. We love learning, which is why we enjoy some of those behind the scenes are some of our favorite things, which is why I think we were excited to kind of talk to you. We love like learning kind of that behind the scenes types
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, yeah, yeah. So we prep quite a bit, and then we make sure we're current on whatever movie or show that they watch too. So
Mhm. I feel
Yeah, but also think what it comes down to is no matter how much we prepare, we have to connect with the person that we're interviewing.
Yes.
So you kind of try to find that connection first. Whether, what are we going to kind of, you have to read them and let them read you and your energies. And I think that really dictates how an interview will go. I mean, we've interviewed people that are not big elaborators where maybe we have to ask, 3 times the amount of questions we normally have to ask because they're a little bit more black and white with their answers. And then we certainly have had some interviews where we haven't even looked at our paper at all that we've written up, and it's just a conversation. So you really just have to be prepared to take their lead.
Yeah, you answered one of my next questions. I was gonna ask if you've ever interviewed someone where the conversation kind of was
Mhm.
stale or you got one word answers and how you overcame it. So you kind of answered it a little bit there. Do you remember a time when there was maybe someone that you spoke to? Don't name names, but
Okay,
maybe
great.
maybe there was something that happened, where you felt that you had to always try to like inject some energy into the conversation to get them going, to get them to open up. Was there a time when that ever happened to you during an interview?
Sure. And I'm going to say some of the behind the scenes people choose to be behind the scenes people because they don't want to be on camera, but they have this knowledge and this wealth of insight into the process. I think, you know, under the over prepared is this is where it comes in, and we can feed small, pieces of questions to them and like get them through, and then it's kind of fun when you see them relax and know that we're there to enjoy what they do, and their answers become longer and longer, and
Hmm.
they'll go on a tangent, and then we know we've got them, and they become some of our favorite people. I think it's part of the reason why we love talking with some of those people. But it's okay that they didn't choose a life in front of the camera, and it's okay to be a little more cautious when they first come on as we're connecting. We're very accepting of that, actually.
Mhm, mhm, yeah, because I feel like especially if you have an interview-based podcast, you have to be prepared and you have to be skilled enough, to kind of get people to where they can get to. Because I mean, like, if you're talking with someone who, is a camera operator, for a video and or for a movie, and, they might have a world of knowledge about a shot or a movie that they did, but they're behind the scenes, they're not used to talking about it, right? So it takes a lot of skill to be able to get that person to be comfortable enough to go into the details to be able to give you something of value that you can use on your podcast. And I think a lot of podcasters who have interview-based podcasts, that is a skill that they absolutely need to work on and develop, because there might be a time when interview someone and, you ask them, "Hey, welcome to the podcast." And they'd be like, "Thanks for having me."
No, you know what? I think it was something that came very natural to us and why we chose not recaps and chose interviews.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. Great. So let's
Yeah.
do this. So you guys are about almost 5 years in. Was there anything that you now are doing that you wish you started to do that before in your podcast?
Oh, Julie? I think
Um,
I mean, honestly, our structure of our podcast has not changed since our first interview when we didn't know what we were doing. We were just sort of making it up as we went along, and that has not changed. And I don't think that it ever will. Um,
Like,
but
and
in
making it up
there's
under we let the conversations kinda roll, like, we're in the framework of what they're there for, and, that has really worked for us, very well, and, I think uh we're better at the spontaneity. I think, certainly at first we were finding our way, but we really quickly hit a roll. I mean, I think, we got a little better at our lighting and a little better at our sound and a little better, those kinds of
better
things.
at questions. Yeah, definitely. But in general, nothing's changed. Now, is there something? Uh, I was just going to say I wish we would have kind of followed our instinct right away, but I actually think we did that as well. We often, I mean, we've only been together in the same room 6 times in real life. Um, so we are usually just texting, and there's sometimes we make really big decisions, and we'll make them quickly because we end up kind of being on the same wavelength, and we've trusted the process, but also trusted our gut
Mhm.
feelings about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I need to backtrack a
Yeah.
little bit, okay? Because I know before we started recording, you guys told me where you guys were located, and you just mentioned that you've only been in the room 6 times. So that leads me to ask the question: how did you guys get together? How did you guys, were you guys friends from high school years, or like how did you guys get together to start this podcast? How did it all come together?
So as we said, we kind of met through like a Hallmark fandom. And then we have this like little core group of 5 of us. And that started because one of the other gals pulled us together and we were just like a chat head for a long time. And we were interacting in some of the other like Facebook pages or whatever. And, our story really comes out of, and then Sarah started an Instagram account. So why you started an
Usually the way
Instagram
it
account?
happens, and then Sarah did this. And then Sarah did this. Yeah. We yeah, I think, so if you go back almost 5 years ago, we were in pandemic era, right?
Hmm.
A lot of us were still home or more home than usual. We spent more time maybe watching our shows, so we were all really invested. It was this big, um I don't know, there was a lot of drama around the show. So our little chat group, we just became fast friends, and we're all over the country. And then I started the Instagram, which would be Suspenders Unbuttoned, the original fan account, and that's it. That's how we knew each other.
The rest is history, as they say,
Yeah.
right?
So
And we've been doing
we started the podcast before we had ever seen each other in real life.
Oh,
So
wow. Wow,
Yeah, not
that's
until that
amazing.
first fan event did we actually meet in real life. And the funny thing is, it because we were a chat group, a small chat group for a couple of years before we even started an Instagram account. When we finally saw each other for real, one of our other friends is like, you two, you just met for the first time. We're like, "Oh, yeah."
That's wild, man. Oh boy, that's amazing. And then, the fact that you guys have such a chemistry to work together on this podcast for so many years, that is absolutely awesome. Now, were there any mistakes maybe that you've made on your podcast that, caused you to be like, "Oh, I think this is it. You might quit," or something like that. Was there any mistakes that you guys made or something that happened? Then you guys were just like, "You know what? I don't know if we're gonna recover from this."
No.
no, I mean, I think our only I don't wanna call it a mistake, but I think we quickly realized after our first episode that we were never going to do that again, and we pivoted
Right
and
after the
changed to
first episode.
yeah, and of course, you look back at our edits have gotten better, our hosting has gotten like, so we have improved, but I can't think of a mistake or
You
something that really kind of
Mhm.
Right. Like,
jumped the
you have some things along the way. We're cautious because when we make people feel so comfortable, they'll just say things, and then sometimes you'll be like, "Can we actually say that, or should we edit that out?" So,
Yeah. Do you need to, cut this out, take it out? So I take it you guys both of you ladies do the editing, or one of you does the editing as well?
yeah,
yeah,
Sarah does it mostly, but I can.
Okay, excellent,
right.
excellent.
Julie will jump in when I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Okay, so now in terms of promoting your podcast, how do you get the word out? How do people, I know there is a fan group that you
Mhm.
guys have. Are most of your listeners coming from there, or what do you do in terms of promoting and finding new listeners for your podcast?
Maybe
Social media is probably our biggest thing, but it all goes up to YouTube also. Um, and then it goes on to the normal podcast platforms. But, honestly, I'll be blunt, we could be better at it. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say maybe that's our thing that we're not really good at promoting our own selves. We love to promote other people. That's something we just naturally do. We both are like that. We like to lift up other people, so we don't really think about ourselves so much. But we're getting better. We're learning about that, and
We could learn more. We could certainly, like the business end of this is not where our strong point is,
it's
we
one we didn't take serious until about 6 months ago, to be
yeah,
honest.
we're just started talking about like we should be better at this. And
Mhm.
sometimes, looking for where to turn or who to connect with is that those things would be certainly things that would love to do better at. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Because
feel
we have good product when we have a lot of great guests, and,
Yeah.
I think it could do a lot better.
Think
yeah.
that, like, in the beginning, we keep talking about this first fan event that we went to and we were a part of. I mean, I've got it here. We, like, made it to the
Um,
poster. We have no idea how that happened, but when we got there, everybody knew us. All the talent knew us. They were like, "Oh, come and talk to me. We haven't met yet." That kind of blew our minds, so we don't really know originally what kind of pushed the word out about us, and you can only assume that the talent enjoyed talking with us, and they
Mhm.
kind of talked about us
They
amongst
spread the word.
themselves, and it
Yeah.
sort of started spreading, and then, of course, the fans of the people that we, are lucky enough to talk to will come in and listen and maybe share it or something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Excellent. Excellent. So you guys are celebrities.
no, not
no,
quite.
No.
no. I would say people know us from listening to the podcast, but we are not the celebrities, but we are, very happy to host those who are and those who are part of those productions, and lift them up.
That's excellent.
It's fun. It's fun to be involved in fan events, and we've
Mhm.
loved, we've been able to, host or be part of multiple fan events. So, um,
So now I usually talk to I talk to podcasters who some of them who have just gotten into the game, and I've spoken to podcasters who have been there since like 2006, right? They're grandfathers in
right?
Yeah,
podcasting terms,
yeah,
right?
20
I
years ago,
wanna
yeah.
I wanna ask both of you, what is the biggest or the most important skill in your opinion that a podcaster needs to have in order to be successful?
Oh, I think you need to be a good listener.
I was just going to say the same thing. You know, you have to listen to what your guest is saying, and that allows us to we sometimes will get we often will get guests who have been on multiple podcasts, to say something they've never said before, just because you're listening to what they're telling and can ask them additional questions and move with them.
Sarah, do you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
Um, no, that was my first instinct. I think that listening, you think about it, you would think it was the opposite if you were a podcaster or you're hosting a show. You need to also be able to talk, which I often botch my words up, ask everybody. But I think to be able to even get to the point of asking questions, and you have to listen, because if you're not listening, then it just really becomes a very dry cut and paste type of interview, and we like to live in the conversation lane.
Mhm. Yeah, and I'll confess here. So when I started this podcast, I used to send out all of the questions to my guests, whoever I was interviewing, and I would stick to the script. And I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
I what I do now is I send out some guidelines of I might talk about this, and I mentioned before what I will do, and I realized that the conversation before was very systematic, robotic, almost
Mhm.
too structured. And
Yeah,
I realized that by getting rid of that, those structured questions, and just me being curious, it helped the conversation kind of just flow a little bit better, become more genuine and authentic. People
Right.
listening can kind of listen to the conversation as it evolved, right? Because
that
by me throwing away those questions, it now forced me as the host, the interviewer, to do what you're saying, to make sure that I'm listening
Right, you have
and
to be on, you have to be really present.
being ready and being
Yeah.
present, not just looking at my list to go to the next question and forget about everything that they just said, right? So do believe that listening skills is like one of the big things for interview based, podcasters. You have to have really excellent listening skills.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to add to that?
Yeah, I also think that for those that are doing interview, so the podcasts come in so many different ways, and ours is an interview podcast. So for those that are doing interview podcasts, I think flexibility is
Yeah, yeah.
such a big thing. And for us, there's just like we want our viewers to feel like they can pull their coffee up at their table and sit
Your
down and
animal
kind
can
of,
walk by and
yeah.
say hi. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that they can pull up and they're, like, right at the table with us having this conversation with this person, and they're just sitting right at the table with us, just that ability to, be flexible and enjoy the conversation.
Yeah.
Enjoy the conversation. Yeah. And it kind of the image that you gave just now, I think was really good because I think a lot of podcasters, if when they get behind the microphone, they might get a little nervous or uptight and you could hear it in their voice. But if they have the mindset or the picture where we're sitting at the coffee table and we're
Mhm.
just all around this table having this conversation about something that we all enjoy, I think that helps, number one, the conversation flow a little bit better
Yeah.
and feel more natural. So that's a
For
good picture that that you just gave us, Julie. I love it actually. I hope the podcasters that are listening right now, if you have any challenges when you're interviewing anyone, like, see it as a conversation that you're just having at your at the coffee table where you guys are just hanging out, having a sip of coffee and a drink and just chatting, you know?
Yeah.
for us, this is probably why we podcast well together. We both, like, settle in once we're chatting with our guests.
Mm,
Yeah, and, when we first started, we actually started live streaming, so we would interview while live, and that really maybe was a great thing for us because you had to learn to be present with your guests, but then you also had to pay attention to the audience. So you had to like read comments, and it was very engaging. It was a lot of fun. I'm pleased that we shifted to doing recorded episodes because I think our guest feels more comfortable that way, and then we're able to have better conversation. But I think I don't remember what the exact point was.
Just just that was a strength, is that ability to just, be in the moment
in the
And
moment.
be
and
flexible, right, and then
Flexible.
we certainly have been asked many times, we still get asked frequently, like, "Can you send over the questions?" And when we send over questions, we always say, like, "These are our talking points, but we don't know if we're gonna ask you all of them or none of them," and I think there's only been one time where we really had to stick to the script, and it was because we had a guest on that English was not his first language, so he
Ah.
practiced his answers in
Mhm.
English, and we just kept it really simple for him, but other than that, some guests feel more comfortable kind of knowing ahead of time, um, what do you wanna talk about so I can especially if it's, like, somebody about a project that they've done a while ago, and we might wanna ask details. We like to ask specific details, so it's nice for, a lot of times, maybe a director to go back and just kind of remember, "What did I do in this scene that they're gonna ask me about?" So that they can participate better, but,
Mhm.
yes, we will have our questions being over-prepared, but being flexible and, um, taking listening to what they're saying so we can expand a conversation.
Yeah. And now the thought that's coming to my mind is, so say for example, you're interviewing someone, um, and you've asked them a question, maybe, or you're having a conversation and you asked a question maybe that they weren't willing to answer. Have you ever been in a situation like that? And like, how did you overcome it? Has there anything, has it, something like that ever happened?
So it happens actually quite a bit that they're
Yeah.
unable to answer because of filming or restrictions on what can be said so far.
That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's actually very common, and they're used to it, and so are we. They'll just be like, "Hey, it's gonna be great, but we can't
Yeah.
talk about that yet." That's
And I
completely normal in our range.
and I think too, like, we've certainly had guests on that aren't particularly fond of talking about certain things. And if we haven't already been figured that out by doing, preparing and maybe listening to other interviews, we can usually pick up on that cue really quickly
Hmm.
and make a pivot so that it's not awkward for anybody. I mean, we've had that happen quite a bit, I would say. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so we're just about to wrap up, but before I close, I want to ask both of you: is there anything that I forgot to ask you? Because I mean, I'm human. Sometimes I forget things. Is there anything that maybe one thing that maybe you had in your mind about your podcast that you think that would be really beneficial for us to talk about here?
I'm gonna say, what is our favorite thing about podcasting?
Yeah, what is your favorite thing about podcasting? That's a good
Uh,
question.
it's
Why
it's
didn't
the
I think of
connect
that?
it's the connections. It's connecting with people and, on this level that, just really getting to know each other and, where they're at. Like, I very much have enjoyed connecting with you and just
Mhm.
having this conversation about podcasts. It's been fun.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Sarah, what's your favorite thing about podcasting?
The exact same thing as Julie. We really love the connections that even if it's a one often actually not very often do we have a guest that we never hear from again. Like we always
Repeat, yes.
usually somehow keep in touch,
Mhm,
whether they come back again or we follow each other on social media or whatnot. But we just really enjoy connecting with people and celebrating their work or their passion and lifting them up while we're doing.
mhm. Yeah, that's great. And you know what? I feel like that for most podcasters, that connection piece is like one of the things that really keeps them going. Because 'cause I'm like that as well. Um, I try my best to stay in touch with everybody that I've ever spoken to. Right, and I know it's hard because as, the years go by, those people who you've interviewed gets larger and larger, but I try my best. I think a couple days ago, I actually just messaged a few people that I had on the podcast back on season number 1, um, of I made a podcast just to say hi, "Hey, what's going
Yeah,
on?" And I feel like because, like, the genuine connection that happens when you're interviewing someone, it's hard for me just to kind of, like, be, "Okay, we did the interview, I'm never gonna talk to you again."
yeah,
Right?
It feels so hard, like, you see them still on social media, their podcast, you're still kinda, connected, they're an email away, and it takes 30 seconds to just send a quick message to say, "Hey, how's things going with your podcast? How's things going with, this and that?" You know? And I feel like I'm also that connection aspect of it. I spoke to someone else earlier, another podcaster, and she talked about being the glue, being the
yeah.
person to connect, this person with this person.
I like that too.
And I feel like that's how the world gets around, like
Yeah,
that's how we actually help other people kind of accomplish their goals and in turn give yourself like a good name, right? Of a connector, a person that can help you. So I feel like the connection piece is like something really big. It's big for me. So I know this is the first time that you guys are on this podcast. I will stay in touch with you guys again, but
Uh,
I would love to have you on the podcast. Maybe like if you're doing something amazing, great in a
sure.
next year or whatever, I'll have you guys on again. This
Yeah,
has been
we'll have
great.
you on too, Chris. You're stuck with us now.
Oh, great. Hey, no problem. No problem. I mean, I'm not, what do I do? I do have a podcast studio and I have some camera gear and stuff. I guess I'm behind the scenes. I'm not an actor, but well, I don't know. We could
oh,
figure it out. We'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
I'm just here in my closet.
mm,
You mentioned seasons, that's something we have never done. We have never had
this
it.
close.
We've
So you
just
guys have
been
just gone
going
straight the entire
just
time?
straight.
Straight
Yep.
through.
I mean, I
We
think
could
we have moments where we're like, okay, life is busy, so we're gonna slow down. Maybe I'm not reaching out to as many people. We'll take it easier. And then there's other months where we have like 30 guests or something.
Like
Wow.
insane.
We just never
Um,
miss.
Wow.
You never
Wow.
know.
That's
I'm gonna throw out one more favorite moment because it was a full circle moment for us. Um, when
Yeah.
so we started this podcast, and it's been very diverse actually. It certainly has a foundation in that Hallmark world, but it's been a pretty diverse podcast. But we came out of a fan event, and so Kevin McGarry is the who the page is for, and we had him on, and right away he was like, sometime we're going to have to do a live. So this was a lot of years ago. And our full circle moment was we were covering as media Hallmark Christmas Experience last December. And Kevin was there as part of the talent. And we even hosted an event while we were there. We met up with him the Thursday evening before the event started Friday morning, and it was like 9:30 at night, and we went live. It's our first and only live and an in-person interview. We went live from the lobby, and it is one of our favorite things we've done.
wow. Did you prepare in advance for that, or like
Me
just
too. Honestly, we didn't need to. I
It's
mean,
to
didn't
the
need to?
point where we've been saying this for so many years. We're like, yeah, sure, we'll do a live with you someday.
and then all of a sudden he was like, "Let's do a live quick," and
Let's
I'm
do it
like,
right
"I
now.
have a plan," and we got it going, and it just the whole lobby cleared out and came over, and we just had a lot of fun, and we know this show very well, and we know Kevin very well, and it's not difficult. And then
So really
everyone was
easy.
right there, so they were asking. He got a chance to interact with people right
I was
there,
gonna
and
say
they
we
were
just really were a means to give him the chance to interact with these fans that were there for him, and they could
Mhm.
throw out questions, and he could, you know, give a heartfelt message to them all that he
asking.
can't do, very often. So to be right there in the same room, it really was a full circle moment. I mean, that's how we started, and that's how a lot of people first heard of us because of
Wow.
that. So, yeah.
Wow, wow. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Is there
Yeah.
is there anything big happening for the Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast in the near future? Anything big that we need to look out for?
I think we
Um,
got an interview coming up that will be super fun.
we
Okay.
have a couple of great interviews coming up, and then, yeah, just stay tuned. That's all I know at
All
the
right. Excellent, excellent, wonderful. So I'm gonna make it easy for everybody. Okay, everyone listening, I have the links and all of the socials and everything for Suspenders Unbuttoned down below in the description. All you need to do is just click the link and then follow. They have some great interviews coming up. Don't know who. They haven't dropped any names. So that means you have to subscribe to their podcast and follow them on social medias to find out who it is. I'm curious, but don't tell me. Let me figure it out when it comes. I want to be shocked. I want to be surprised when I listen to it. All right, great. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. And I want to say thank you, both of you, for coming on the podcast and sharing your insights. I mean, from your perspective, the conversation was mainly focused around interviewing because that's what your podcast is mainly about. So I think a lot of people will learn a lot about interviewing, what they need to do, and learn from you who have you guys have been in this for almost 5 years now. So you guys have the bumps and the bruises, and you've learned a lot, and you've shared a lot of insights for us here today. So thank you very much for being on I Made a Podcast. And again, everybody, the links and everything to follow Julie, to follow Sarah, and Suspenders Unbuttoned is down below. So please follow them. So ladies, thank you so much for being on I Made a Podcast today. This was really fun.
Thanks for having
Thank
us,
you for
Chris.
having me.
So everyone, remember, the best time to start a podcast was 10 years ago, and the second best time is right now. So go ahead and make it happen. And I'll see you next time on I Made a Podcast. Peace. Hey, real quick, if you're a podcaster and you have been feeling like you're doing this alone or you're close to giving up, I get it. Podcasting can feel like a solo mission, but it doesn't have to be. You should check out Podground. At Podground, you'll find other hosts who actually get it. You can connect with podcasters from around the world, apply for grants, learn tips, tools, and strategies, join networking events, meetups, and even trivia nights. You'll get real support, feedback, and connections that matter. Don't quit your show or your dream. Come find your people at podground.io. That's podground.io.